between these siblings.
Absolutely. I do have to say, the only thing throwing me off is, we're all decked out in Team Rocket gear. It's Team Rocket everything. Then the boss's orders played as a Cyrus. Come on, where's Giovanni?
Oh, yeah, we need some Giovanni in here. Come on. Hey, we got some Cyrus lovers in here too, all right? All right, Kyle, I'm not trying to make any enemies on this cast right now. But yeah, that would be absolutely epic here. It's always interesting seeing what arts of cards our players pick for their decks too, especially, in our younger divisions. Sometimes they just have logic that it really only makes sense to them. It's like whatever card they like, whatever art they like, whatever colors and Pokemon they like. It's just super cute to talk to our TCG players because they're very opinionated sometimes.
Yeah, lots of room for customization, especially for trainer cards, right? There's so many different times trainer cards have been reprinted over the years.
Right.
There's who knows how many different arts of Ultra Ball you can pick for at this stage. And yeah, bosses orders, I've seen lots of different bosses on the card as well, so you can kind of pick the one you want. So yeah, different artworks and of course different rarities of the cards as well. So yeah, it's always interesting to see what players decide to choose to play in their deck, and also like how many foil cards you play versus non-foil cards, things like that.
Yeah. All right, well, it looks like these players are set up here. Oh no! Have things turned around here? Was that just a Hawlucha in the active position, not even able to use its flying entry and a pass? Is that it?
Believe so.
Wow.
That's not a good start.
That is the opposite start that you want to see, really,
Yeah.
as a Pokemon TCG player. And maybe it's time here for Kenji to swing things back around. Annabelle sees it too, and we've got smiles on both sides of this table here. Let's take a look at the prize cards here. Definitely less energy, which is good to see.
Yes, and yes, we will see
Here
the
we
Badoo
go.
come into play. Itchy Pollen is going to be used, and that means no item cards for Annabelle. And that could be particularly devastating, but the Dreepy and the Brock Scouting!
The Brock Scouting. This is a difference between the lists here. Annabelle does play a lesser line of the Charizard EX, but this Brock Scouting kind of counteracts that here. It allows for some variety in your deck. If you want to get 2 basic Pokemon out, you can do that, or an evolution Pokemon. That's nice as well. On the prize cards on Annabelle's side, though, what do you think about those?
Nothing too impactful. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of run-of-the-mill stuff. Nothing.
A couple of Ultra Balls, lots of your 4-ofs.
Yeah, nothing crazy like the first game. But yeah, one of the reasons Badoo is so powerful is it stops Buddy Buddy Poffin and those kinds of cards from being used. So in a situation like this, typically you end up in a really, really tough spot where you're not able to play cards that allow you to search for basic Pokemon. The Brock Scouting is played specifically because of Badoo's Itchy Pollen. On its own, it's not a particularly powerful supporter card, right? It just gets 2 basic Pokemon or 1 evolution Pokemon. It's kind of slow, but it's not an item card. So it lets you play it under the Itchy Pollen lock. And it was a huge draw for Annabelle here.
Yeah, the top deck, that was awesome to see, and you can see how much it has helped out here because now we have 2 Dreepy down there for Annabelle, the Badoo inactive as well, which means on the opposite side, Kenji cannot play item cards under this Itchy Pollen. We are going to go in with a supporter card, though, in this Iono, so we're going to get 2 new hands for both of our players, 6 cards each. The rescue board was also applied to the field for Annabelle as well. Is separate from an item card, is a tool card, so that was able to be played. We're seeing multiple recon directive here now for Kenji. One's a fire energy and a professor's research. Supporter has already been played here for the turn, but let's look at the rest of the hands that Kenji has off of the Iono.
Doesn't look good, I'll say that. Yeah, currently choosing between a professor's research and a fire energy. Like you said, already a supporter card being played for the turn, so you can't play the professor's research. But looking at this hand, it may be a choice for the next turn. One big card that came down for Kenji is the Monkey Dory, a card we see a lot of in the standard format, has the Adrenabrain ability and can be really important in these Badoo situations lets you move up to 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon over to your opponent's Pokemon. And Annabelle stopping Kenji from using an item card.
Close, close.
Oof, that was close.
That absolutely was close.
Yeah, both players have used Itchy Pollen at this point, so for the duration of that turn, you cannot use item cards. So good catch there by Annabelle, preventing her brother from doing that.
Yeah, I love to see that. No misplays here. But we have, as you said, that Monkey Dory. It does take one of those luminous energy. Of course, we do have more. They're less in the prize cards this time. But to be able to do this Adrenabrain ability, you have to have that dark energy on there as well. So Kenji wasn't able to do a ton in this turn. We have some more Pokemon out on the field. We have the ability to make things happen next, but still just locking with this Itchy Pollen. We're back over to Annabelle now, who's going to start off this turn here. We have one Dracloak in play after an Iono herself and her own Monkey Dory. Wow, it's almost like we're watching a mirror match here.
Crazy, yeah. Yeah, and after the dreadful first turn from Annabelle, just starting with the Hawlucha and passing, you can feel the momentum has shifted a little bit. Now she's getting the Dracloak in play. There's an energy card on the Dracloak already. Yeah, this is going to be a close one now.
It's going to be very close as we go through these recon directives. What do you want to net to the hand? It's going to be the Buddy Buddy Poffin over that fire energy. It's going to go back to the bottom of the deck here for Annabelle.
Yeah, neither player was able to find a luminous energy for the Monkey Dory. So no Adrenabrain quite yet. The first player who's able to find one might take the advantage in this match.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge swing here as these damage counters continue to pile up. This Badoo does hit for a little bit here. It's not only just activating your allergies, it's also damaging you. Now that's only 10 HP remaining there for Kenji's Badoo on that side. We'll see what Kenji's actually able to find here. As these turns pass, we get more recon directed. This could lead to some incredible cards to the hand, some incredible potential combinations here. And we see it come out, this luminous energy, unlocking the Adrenabrain ability on this Monkey Dory on the bench. And look at that. That Badoo is gone now for Kenji, not having to deal with that. That is quite nice. And it's a prize card.
Yeah. Again, Badoo only has 30 HP, so it doesn't take much to knock it out. But yeah, a big moment, moving the damage off of his own Badoo to knock out Annabelle's.
Right.
A big swing in the game, and he gets to continue to use the Itchy Pollen, continue to disrupt the plans for his opponent. You know, anytime you're prevented from playing things like Ultra Ball, it just makes it more difficult to find the cards you need to set up your next attacks. So as long as you can hold on to this Itchy Pollen lock, eventually you need to transition into attacking with Dragapult, but yeah, it's great to buy some time, get a little damage on your opponent's Pokemon as well, and plus it's just really annoying.
It's very annoying indeed. I'm sure a lot of our TCG players can relate to that. That is for sure. Probably a lot of broken hearts from this Badoo throughout this weekend here at NAIC. But exactly what you said, Kyle. You want to be able to develop your own board so that it is stronger in the late game against your opponents as you continue to hinder them as well. So that Badoo going down for Annabelle and Kenji, keeping that lock as he's able to also be the first to Monkey Dory Adrenabrain, get those damage counters out consistently each turn now. This is huge. And Annabelle had to Iono here for the turn, the single supporter, just to get into some new cards and have something to do here. But we do now have 2 Dracloak out for Annabelle to start these recon directives, getting some additional cards to the hand.
I believe Annabelle drew a luminous energy of her own. So if she wants, she can get her own Monkey Dory up and running with the Adrenabrain. Yeah, this Pokemon has become a menace in the standard format in just so many different decks and different matchups. A lot of the decks these days are doing attacks that are spreading damage, setting up multiple knockouts at once, and the Adrenabrain being able to move damage from your own Pokemon, kind of healing your Pokemon and moving the damage to your opponent's Pokemon is such a powerful effect. But then we get in spots where both players have the Monkey Dory, and it just becomes kind of a headache to figure out where all this damage is going to end up.
The monkeys just start slinging damage back and forth from each other's boards. That's exactly what this card is doing. And I don't think we're going to see any sort of mess-ups here from each of our players. We're going to see that damage consistently going to the opposite side of the field here. And it really does make a huge impact once you actually pair it with the Dragapult EX turns, where then you have an additional 6 damage counters to spread on your opponent's field, as well as that Phantom Dive, 200 to the active too. That's where things really get to add up. You got to do a little bit of math here in the TCG, but I think Annabelle and Kenji are used to that by now. They've gone through so many rounds here at NAIC to get to this point.
Absolutely. Now, what will be the choice for Kenji on this turn? He doesn't really have a good attack lined up. There's no energy on the Dracloak at the moment, I believe, which means it's going to be tough to attack with Dragapult EX on this turn. We may just see another Itchy Pollen, but this is going to get awkward as well. Once your opponent has Monkey Dory, the Badoo becomes a lot more difficult to use effectively because, again, it has such low HP, and your opponent can just kind of move some of the damage back at you. Now, it can only move damage from one Pokemon to another.
True.
So by spreading out this damage here, putting 2 on the Dracloak and then the Itchy Pollen, 10 to the Hawlucha, there's no opportunity for Annabelle to just Adrenabrain 3 damage counters over to the Badoo and knock it out straight away. So that this Badoo might be safe for another turn, but feels like pretty soon it's going to be time to stop using Itchy Pollen and shift over to Phantom Dive.
Yeah, shift over to the attack phase. That's what we're waiting for. Both of these boards are slowly building up there. We saw a decision for Kenji between a Pheasantipity or a Dragapult EX. Decided to go with the Pheasantipity. We currently have a full bench for Kenji, but valuing the cards potentially in the future. On that flip the script, if things start popping off here for Annabelle, we are going to see another Dracloak into play after our first 2 recon directives have already been played. So we're getting another one here. But what do you think Annabelle's game plan is for this turn? Where does she want to be at the end of this turn?
I imagine probably attacking with Dragapult. It is a little bit awkward in this situation. Your opponent has the Monkey Dory set up, but if you can find a boss's orders this turn, it would be incredible to go after one of these stage 1 Pokemon on the bench. But it looks like no, there's not going to be any boss's orders on this turn. And one of the things that Itchy Pollen also prevents is the usage of Counter Catcher, a powerful item card that you can only play when you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent. But it's basically boss's orders, but as an item card, which most of the time is a huge advantage, right? You get to play this as your item card. Well, it's an item card. You can play as many as you want.
Yeah.
You get to play a different supporter card plus this. But with the Itchy Pollen, you're locked out of playing that card. So it just limits your options once again.
Yeah, which is very difficult. There can be some explosive turns, like you said, having the counter catcher, or maybe even getting the counter catcher like we just saw from an Arvin for that play if you can't find a boss's orders. But yeah, this Badoo, it's carrying its weight here. The Itchy Pollen does not allow for that to happen here on Annabelle's turn. So we're just passing back over to Kenji's side now, that Hawlucha with just the 10 damage still on it, and Kenji's going to kick off this turn. Now getting an Arvin into the hand himself here as we churn through these recon directives, and Iono all the supporters into the hand here for Kenji. We already have a full bench here for Kenji, so that Charmander is not going to help out too much here. Does have another Luminous Energy. That's going to apply that Psychic there for the required energy attachment for the Dragapult EX. So that's going to come down. Then this Iono is going to happen. So all those cards that Kenji was netting to his hand are going to the bottom now. So he can't draw into those cards. This is another strategy we see from these players. You want to put something in your hand if you know you're going to Iono that you don't want to draw into off of your new set of cards. So now we have a fresh 5 for Kenji, 6 on Annabelle's side, representing those prize cards for both our players.
And you may be wondering, why didn't Annabelle just go in and attack with Phantom Dive on the last turn?
Enlighten us.
The reason is it's a little tricky because your opponent has Monkey Dory. You know, you are forced to put 6 damage counters on your opponent's benched Pokemon, and the Monkey Dory would allow Kenji to move some of those damage counters over to one of Annabelle's benched Pokemon and potentially set up a knockout on a benched Pokemon with his own Phantom Dive. So it's a little tricky to just attack. It doesn't feel like it's worth going out just to attack a Badoo for a knockout. You kind of want to sit back and wait and see if you can line up a boss's orders play and just buy some time and set up more Dragapult EX. So both these players are kind of happy to sit back, build up their boards, and soon enough, you know, we will see some big attacks launched back and forth.
Oh, it's coming.
For now, it's kind of a waiting game. Yeah.
It is a waiting game because, I mean, think about it. Both these players are trying to set up a checkmate scenario on their boards.
There was a jamming tower in play, preventing the Hawlucha from retreating. That part's important too.
Yes, that's true. Both of these cards look very similar because they are both different types of towers. We have the jamming tower and the watch tower. That jamming tower is now gone to the discard pile here for that Team Rocket's watch tower in play. So being able to bump that stadium, the rescue board is available now on the Hawlucha as we're going into the deck with this Arven here. Get us another item card and a tool card thinned out of the deck for Annabelle. Of course, we were working off an Iono, so those were in the hand before, but then they were back in the deck. Now they're back in the hand. A lot of shuffling of the cards.
And again, we'll not be able to play the counter catcher on this turn, but preparing for the next turn. And this time we will see the Dragapult EX come into the active spot. Annabelle deciding it's been long enough, time to put on some aggression. And will we see a Phantom Dive here, spreading out some damage to the benched Pokemon? Again, it is a little bit tricky, but yeah, with the Monkey Dory of her own, she can just move some damage onto a Charmander and then put all the damage counters onto it to knock it out and not leave Kenji with any damage counters to move back.
Right, that is a huge play here from Annabelle. We're sweeping 2 prize cards, 2 Pokemon off of Kenji's field in that Badoo, in the Charmander now. That's 2 prize cards down. And yeah, Kenji has no damage counters, as you said, Kyle, to play with. This is what you want to set up. You don't want to be able to have your opponent be able to sling that damage back at you. So these are the plays that you're searching for. Annabelle has found that here as Kenji is going to kick us off with this Dracloak in the active position. Already has that Luminous attached here. We're just going to need a Fire and a Dragapult EX for Kenji to be able to swing back into Annabelle for this turn. Between a Fire and that Charizard EX off this first Recon directive.
Yeah, why not both? You can evolve to Charizard and it just gets the Fire energy.
Infernal Rain. Here we go. Fire energy coming out of the deck here from this Charizard EX. Such a powerful card. Not only does it get these Fire energy out, now you have a whole Charizard on your bench that is so threatening there on Kenji's board now. We have this Fire energy, of course, placed onto this Dracloak as well. So now Dragapult EX is ready to start attacking if we get there here for Kenji.
Yeah, and I wonder if we'll see a similar move from Kenji going after the Hawlucha that has damage. You kind of want to clear damage off of your opponent's board when they have the Monkey Dory with Adrenabrain. Otherwise, it's threatening to you. It can set up plays where it knocks out some of your benched Pokemon. So let's see what the choice is going to be for Kenji. Counter Catcher is actually unlocked for him because Annabelle took 2 prize cards on the previous turn. So we'll see what the plan of action is. Do you just attack into the Dragapult EX, try to get a 2-hit knockout? And we see the A-Spec card coming in once again, the Unfair Stamp. This could be a huge moment in this game as well.
Yeah, look at this. The Technical Machine thinned out of the deck. The Arven netting us this Unfair Stamp. That could add to the disruption that we need here from Kenji. And you also saw the benching of that Pheasantipity EX as well. Knockouts happened last turn for Kenji, which is what unlocked this Unfair Stamp. Also unlocks the Flip the Script ability here for Kenji. So valuing that his hands can be stronger throughout the rest of this game, trying to disrupt Annabelle as much as possible here, as we still had our second recon directive as well. And that's it. Annabelle's just going to have 2 cards to work with in this upcoming turn on the other side.
Yeah, and we'll see if Kenji decides to take a knockout on this Hawlucha on the bench. If he does, that could unlock Annabelle's own unfair stamp.
And guess what, Kyle? Apparently she drew an unfair stamp off of the unfair stamp.
That's really unfair. You shouldn't be allowed to do that.
The pink cards are all around here. Yeah, it is super unfair here, but hey, all is fair here between these siblings, as we have almost identical decks here, so the cards are coming out, but that's so funny that happened here. Kenji's still going through this this turn here, but we are going to see that flying entry, the Hawlucha, coming down onto the field. That's going to add up these damage counters here. We see that Dracloak gets 1. The Hawlucha on the other side gets the other one. So 40 HP remaining left on this Hawlucha. That Dracloak only has, what, also 40? No, sorry, 80.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like all the damage just going to go onto, or the 4 damage counters onto the Hawlucha and 2 onto the Dracloak. This is a situation where you can overload your opponent with damage counters. You can only move 3 with the Monkey Dory, so you have to make a tough decision on where to move them from. But yes, Annabelle does have the unfair stamp.
Incredible.
So anything you can do, I can do better. Unfair stamp me, I'll just unfair stamp you right back.
Exactly. The knockouts have happened here. Kenji took another
and the boss's orders.
Wow, the wombo combo you always want to see. The boss's orders bringing up that Monkey Dory into the active position, into the unfair stamp here. You see Kenji just shaking his head like, come on, can I catch a break here in this match? But hey, that is how it happens sometimes in the Pokemon TCG.
Just rude.
Just rude here. Yeah, I feel like after this match, there's going to be a lot of trash talking between these siblings for a very long time, I think.
Seems like they're both still having a good time.
Absolutely.
But Annabelle is in a great position to take advantage of this situation. Draws 5 cards from the unfair stamp. Now it's Kenji who just gets 2 cards. Looks like Annabelle will be able to set up a play where she knocks out this Monkey Dory and can also knock out a Dracloak on the bench thanks to Adrenabrain.
Yeah,
go down to 2 prize cards, but it's still going to be a tough road ahead to get the final prize cards. There's still only 1 Dragapult EX set up at this stage. I don't know, it's still going to be a close game.
Yeah, there is 1 Dragapult EX. It has been heavily damaged from Kenji's side. We do have this flip the script here now for Annabelle. 3 additional cards to the hands, but yeah, as you said, I mean, eliminating those Pokemon from your opponent's side, taking out that Dracloak, that's going to be huge, but Kenji's already been able to set up these other attackers on the board, and they're fully healthy at the moment right now, so it really could go either way for both of these players. Kenji did draw into just a couple Pokemon from that unfair stamp, so that could be difficult to work with potentially, but we do have the Pheasantipity EX, at least for now, protecting that draw support just a little bit there, as Annabelle is going to use this Ultra Ball, discard these cards for a Dragapult EX. This is a second one now. It only has 1 single energy, but not for long, as we see that second Luminous Energy fully charging up. This Dragapult EX on the bench does have a little bit of damage on it, but still another attacker now for Annabelle.
Yeah, I think just figuring out, has an energy card been played this turn already? Don't think so. And there we see the Adrenabrain moving those 3 damage counters onto Kenji's Dracloak on the bench. This is perfect math here.
60.
Phantom Dive can knock out the Monkey Dory, which will take away Kenji's Adrenabrain and knock out this Dracloak on the bench. Annabelle with a huge play to go down to just 2 prize cards. That's all that remains between her and becoming the champion.
Yeah, becoming our junior champion. So close here for Annabelle, but Kenji's gonna stay fighting here in this matchup, promoting this Dragapult EX. What do you think needs to happen here for Kenji to just try to remain in this game here, Puka? Is there a way we can swing things back here for Kenji?
It's gonna be tough. Just got unfair stamped. Only has 2 cards to start the turn. It'll start with a flip the script. Feels like you need to be taking a big knockout here. I do think Kenji has a reasonable line to win the game. You knock out the active Dragapult EX on this turn, and then on the following turn, you can try to boss's orders your opponent's Pheasantipity EX. The scary thing here is if you use Phantom Dive, you're going to be putting damage on your opponent's board, and they could just do the same to you. They can boss's orders your Pheasantipity EX, move damage over, and simply Phantom Dive to win the game. So you have to wonder, is this a spot where you would actually prefer to just attack with Charizard EX? Doesn't give your opponent more damage counters to work with.
Yeah, that's the tough part. It's not optional there. So Kenji's gonna have to make this decision here. Lead with the Dragapult EX. That's what we're gonna see here. It's gonna take out this active Dragapult EX. Only had 120 HP remaining, 200 dealt by that Phantom Dive. We see the 6 coming down onto the field now here. 1 on the Pheasantipity EX, 2 on the Dragapult EX. Still have 3 left here for Kenji.
Yep. It's gonna be the choice here, and will Annabelle have a way to respond at this stage? It's very simple. It'll just be boss's orders, and Annabelle will become the champion thanks to Monkey Dory's Adrenabrain ability. Kenji tying the game up at 2 prize cards apiece. What's going to happen here?
Let's see what the top deck is here.
It's the boss's orders. Here comes the Pheasantipity EX Adrenabrain, and Annabelle Oono is your North America International Champion.
Our junior champion here, Annabelle Oono, takes this win against her brother in the finals. Annabelle able to take it here. And look at that. The handshake wasn't just to start. They have the secret handshake to end things off here between these siblings. What an incredible match here. But Annabelle Oono is your junior champion here at NAIC. That was an awesome one to watch here, Kyle. How are you feeling after that match?
Yeah.